Okay everyone, so this right here is the 2020 Sonata Hybrid. Now this is completely refreshed and it's their next generation model. So in this video, we're going to go over every detail about this car and you're gonna see why Hyundai has really been on their groove lately. All right, everyone, let's go ahead and take a look around the 2020 Hyundai Sonata Hybrid Limited. And the reason I stress the Limited is because you will hear advertised that this car gets around 50 miles per gallon in the city, 54 miles per gallon on the highway, 52 miles per gallon combined. And that is true, but not in this trim level. This is the fully decked out Limited model. If you want that awesome class-leading fuel economy, you're gonna have to go for the blue trim, which is the most efficient trim level. This is actually going to drop on the Limited. It's still pretty good though. You get 45 in the city, 51 on the highway, and a combined MPG of 47, but this is also going to get that awesome solar roof panel, which is unique to this class, and we'll talk more about that as we go throughout the review. So this one is kind of expensive. It's mid $30,000, which is a little bit more expensive than like a fully loaded Toyota Camry hybrid. And I will admit that the overall quality of this does feel a little bit more robust, and I'll show you guys that once again as we go throughout the review. But let's go ahead and look at this color because I'm in love with this color. It kind of reminds me of like an Audi Nardo gray or something like that. It looks beautiful. It's got this like gold flake in it, and it really does a great job at pairing well with the black accents going around this car, and I think it looks absolutely amazing. So as we come to the front, there is going to be one unique change, and that change is going to be the fact that this grille right here is not going to have that big catfish-like grille that you have on the Limited gas only version. This is going to get the standard Sonata grille, and I quite like it. Paired with the LED running lights, it almost looks Aston Martin like. And if you've never seen this generation, this new generation Sonata, it's really cool with what they do with the headlights. So I love how the LED runs right into that chrome strip. It's gonna flow all the way down and just surround the entire window. It's a really unique design and it looks incredible. Obviously you have full LED lights on this car, so the lights are going to be completely LEDs, not a single incandescent bulb on this vehicle. Now as we move to the side, you do have unique wheels for the hybrid model. So these are going to be 17-inch wheels, and they have a more aerodynamic design to them. They look pretty cool, and I think they fit the car. If you get a little bit closer to them, you can see the pattern going right there. And it looks great. Obviously, I wish they were a little bit bigger, but it's understandable considering that this is a hybrid, and obviously smaller wheels, bigger tires is going to equate to a little bit more of a plush ride. And there's going to be two 1555s all the way around. You've got these Michelin tires that are pretty good at being good on the road in terms of gripping and having a nice, comfortable, and somewhat quiet ride. As you move along the side of the car, you've got these nice creases here, creases going all the way down there. It's a real thick one right there. And then another one is gonna kind of skip right there and then continue. So as we move back, love the side profile of this car. Looks incredible. Okay, coming back to the rear quarter panel view, I love these tail lights. You guys can see right here how it kind of doubles as a spoiler. And you're also gonna have these tiny little vortex generators on top. And the crazy part is when you turn the lights on in like a shadowy area like this, you can really see that three-dimensional look of the rear taillight. It looks really cool. It's unique. It may be controversial. Not everyone may like the way that it looks, but it definitely is unique and it's definitely eye-catching, especially at night. A lot of people really look over whenever you're driving to see what the heck that is next to them, and I think that's a pretty cool look. Now as you come back here, you're gonna have your Sonata badge, your hybrid badge, which kind of bugs me because I wish they would capitalize the H, but you know, whatever. Then as you come down here, you're gonna have this super tiny diffuser, like it's the tiniest one I've ever seen. Hopefully you guys can see it right there. So one thing I do want to talk about is that solar roof. So let's go ahead and go back up here, and I want to dedicate a special part of the review to this solar roof, and hopefully I can get you guys a good look right here. If not, I've got some B-roll to back me up. But the solar roof is very interesting. A lot of people have been wondering about it, so I did my own tests, and I'm going to show you guys what I came up with. Okay, everyone, so as you guys can see, sun is going down. I have the Sonata parked outside, so I'm going to leave it here for 24 hours, and I'm going to see if anything changes in terms of range or battery life. So I'm going to go ahead and get inside. Oy. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and start this up real quick. Okay, so here's our battery level right there. So we have about, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4 little bars in there left. And as you guys can see, the solar panel thing is not putting energy into the battery because it is dark outside. And then I have 28 miles left. I'm not going to let you guys know how far I've driven, because at the end of the video, you'll find out how far I drove on this one tank of fuel. But based off of the 800 miles that this solar panel should add over the course of a year, that's about 2 miles a day. So this should say between 29 and 30 after 24 hours. But we'll see what it says, and we'll see if this goes up or if anything changes. All right, so sun's going down, and it is currently, let's see here, 5:56. Oh, hey, Joseph Rady from Rady's Rise just messaged me. It's so funny. But looks like there was a shadow casted onto the Sonata. Now, it's been out here for over 6 hours. I want to say about 7 to 8 hours. And according to Hyundai, that's how long it takes to get 2 miles, or to get that estimated 800 miles a year. So it should have gotten enough sunlight to where we should be able to see something. So once it has been actually 24 hours, I'm going to come back and see if there's any progress made. Now, unlocking the Sonata, let's go ahead and see what we have. Now, this is obviously not a scientific test by any means, but let me go ahead and start this up. All right, and and nothing. It was out here for a full 24 hours and nothing changed. It still says 28. And it looks like, though, it looks like this battery gauge did go up a bit. I don't know if you guys can see that at all. Okay, I get it. But as far as a readout, it's not telling me anything right here. And unfortunately, there's nothing within this system that tells me how much charge I've gained. So even if I go to, let me see here, if I hit hybrid, nothing there. Okay, so right up top it says solar roof info. Let's go ahead and check that out. So it tells me my total power generation, but it doesn't tell me anything else. Yep. So that's kind of pointless in my opinion. I wish it would tell you, like, throughout the day how much energy you've gathered, because that would be very useful and very helpful. I think a lot of people would like to see that. That way you can actually see where your money's worth is going. So that's kind of frustrating, man. Unfortunately, the solar panel, you just have to hope that it works. And look at that, it even went down 1 mile just idling right here. So not really sure. And I guess you guys just have to trust Hyundai when they say it gives you 2 miles of driving range. Maybe that actually equates to, once again, that battery charge. Maybe it's not going to project the miles here. Not really sure how that works, but either way, you guys vote up here. Let me know. Do you think this solar roof panel is more of a gimmick, or do you think it's more useful than Hyundai says it is? Alrighty guys, so here is your key for the Sonata Hybrid. Now, if you notice, there's no up and down arrow. So with the Hybrid, you cannot get the feature on your remote here that lets you move the vehicle back and forward. You only get that on the limited gas only version. So that's a little bit of a bummer, but you still have your lock, your unlock, your trunk release, you're gonna have remote start, and then of course your panic right there, Hyundai symbol on the back, and then you actually have a physical key within here to get in and out of the vehicle if the battery on this dies. There we go. Or if the battery on the car were to die. Now, looking right here, you've got this really beautiful door handle. You've got this nice chrome up here. Now, here's the interesting part. So, to unlock, you have a touch sensor right behind there. But to lock, there's a touch sensitive area here. And when I say it's sensitive, I can literally brush my pants and it's gonna lock. So, it's really nice because a lot of systems, you have to be very precise with where you put it. This one's very forgiving, so I do quite like that. But let's go ahead and check out the inside. All right, everyone, so getting inside of the Sonata Hybrid. Now, the first thing is that this is just going to be a simplistic all black interior. Looks pretty good. Now, coming to the door, you've got a pretty decent use of material, so this top part up here is going to be a little bit softer touch. You guys can see the give right there. You can have this aluminum accent running all the way down, and it's gonna flow into the door handle right here. Tweeter for your Bose sound system, 2 memory seat settings. You're gonna have leather just adorning this entire armrest right here. Once again, that's very soft to the touch. Window controls, door locks, mirror controls. As you come down, you got a decent amount of cubby space here. Speaker for your Bose sound system there as well. Sonata kick plate, Sonata branded floor mats. All of your seating controls. Seat quality is pretty good. You guys can see it's got a good give to it, some stitching, perforations right there in the middle, and that's going to run all through the middle insert of the seat. But let's go ahead and hop in and we'll check out the rest. Okay, so let's shut the door on the Sonata. Nice. And it blocked out a lot of noise, if you guys heard that. So there's a road right here. Really quiet. Now here's a wider look at the interior for you guys. And then to start the car, very, very simple. Foot on the brake, start stop button is going to be right there. That's all there is to it. Now, since it is a hybrid, it's a very quiet startup. And then starting at the wheel, I actually like the wheel design. It's great for, oh, let me turn this AC down. The wheel design is great for cruising because you have an area to rest your hand here, area to rest your hand here. And this is gonna be like real aluminum. So if it's cold where you are, this will get cold to the touch. And if it's hot where you are, this will get hot to the touch. So that is pretty realistic right there. And then as you come up here, you're gonna have all of your cruise control settings. This is going to be basically your steering assist, and it'll slightly steer forward, and I'll show you guys that once we take it for a drive. And I do like the little animation that comes up here whenever you push this cruise button. It looks pretty cool, and the graphics on this display are very high quality, and everything on it just looks great. I'll get more to that in just a second. Over here to the left, all of your media commands. This is to control the screen there. And you've got these paddles right here in the back. Now as you come to the wipers here, you're gonna have automatic wipers right over here. Automatic lights over here to the left. And I love that little, I think it's called knurling on the end of the stalk right there. It looks really cool, and it's a very nice touch for sure. And then obviously leather quality is going to be pretty good in here. But let's go ahead and get to this screen. Now it does change the display based off of what mode you're in. So if you go from eco to sport, sport to custom, and then once again custom and smart I believe are the same, and then back to eco it'll change again. So it really only changes between eco, sport, and smart. And then other than that, it's a very easy to use screen. So using the buttons to the left, I can scroll up and down right there. I'm sorry, to the right, I can scroll up and down and see all kinds of different information right there, which is pretty nice. So it's very simplistic to work, and obviously you can set it up any way you'd like. Now coming over here to the side, you're going to have more buttons. Electronic parking brake is going to be located right over there, right next to your traction control, which is going to be this guy. Trunk release, interior illumination, that is going to be to reset the 12-volt battery, and then your lane assist right there. Nice vent. As you come up, you're going to have some aluminum accents here. You do have ambient lighting underneath here, and the ambient lighting at night looks pretty good. You can also go through and you can change the colors on here as well. And unlike even the Genesis that I had a few weeks ago, you can actually go through a color wheel and choose whatever color you want. So that is a nice feature. This is soft right here. Hard touch plastic right there. You're going to have a head-up display floating there in the windshield. It looks great. Speaker right back here. Your touchscreen is going to be pretty nice. You have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto on here. So obviously that works pretty well. You don't really have to mess with this if you utilize that. But you're going to have hybrid information right here showing you how everything works. So basically this is a bigger version of what shows up whenever you're driving. So right now it's showing that the solar panel is in fact working. Now as you come down, you're going to have this aluminum accent running down here. Once again, all soft touch up there, like the vents. Dual zone climate control, and I love how even on the animation on the climate, it changes very nicely, very crisp. You're going to have heated and cooled seats, 3 settings for both outboard passengers. Heated steering wheel right there. And as you come down, you have a wireless charging pad area right here. USB to charge, that's going to be for your Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. 12 volt right back there. You've got this push button shifter, so obviously you have park, drive, neutral, and then once you throw it into reverse, you're gonna have your backup camera that comes up 360, and you can choose different angles like your side view, which is great if you're parking on a curb, and then if for whatever reason you're gonna try and hook up a trailer to this thing. Then coming back, you're going to have your cup holders here. You got a nice little area here. I just used it to put my phone there and it worked out pretty well. Drive modes here, so once again that's how you switch through your drive modes, just a little toggle. Parking sensors, camera view, automatic brake hold. Pretty nice and soft armrest right here. You can easily fit 2 arms on there. Lift that up. There's no plugs or anything, but you are going to have a deep amount of space. I got my phone in there. Lockable glove box right over here. You're going to have an auto dimming mirror with your home link. LED lights up here. Obviously, because you have the solar panel, you do not get a moonroof. And then you've got your vanity mirror with a little light up here. Pretty much going to be it for the front. Oh, and if I didn't tell you guys already, because this interior is so quiet, that's mainly due to the windows. These are double pane windows, so really thick. Helps insulate the cabin from the outside world. And as you guys heard, it works pretty well. But let's go ahead and check out the back seat. Okay, so coming to the back seat of the Sonata Hybrid. Now, sitting behind myself, being 6 feet tall, I've got about an inch. I don't have a ton of knee room back here. Now, once again, this is my driver setting. So the fact that I can fit back here is pretty good, but I'm not gonna lie, you have a lot more room in something like a Toyota Camry back here. Now, the third passenger shouldn't have an issue fitting here because this car is pretty on the wide side. You have a lot of shoulder room, and this middle hump right here is gonna be pretty low. You have 1 USB located right back here, 2 rear vents. You're going to have a cup holder right back here, and it locks down in like this really satisfying fashion, so I quite like that. It's really soft. Your arm can rest there very nicely, and it's pretty deep. So for example, if I wanted to put a bottle here, it fits in quite nicely, and I can shake this around and it pretty much isn't going to go anywhere. So that's really nice. Now, folding that back up, seat quality is pretty much the same as the front. Door quality is nice. The only hard touch plastic is going to be right here at the bottom, and you're also, if you guys can see this, going to have a sunscreen shade. You have that on each side, so if you have kids with sensitive skin, you don't want glare on your phone while you're on your phone, you can put that up, and then it's going to reduce the amount of light back here. Now, shutting the door, solid shut. You've got a really tiny pocket down here. I doubt I could even fit like a small water bottle in there. It's probably all I could fit in there. And then 1 mat pocket here. It's pretty much going to be it. You have an LED light back here, which is nice. And it's pretty much going to be it. So let's go ahead and check out the trunk. Okay, so there are multiple ways to get into the Sonata Hybrid. Now, there is a button within the Hyundai logo. You guys can see that right here. And it's interesting. It's so well hidden. You push that, that's going to open the trunk. Now, that's one way to get in. Obviously, you can use your key to pop the trunk. But let's say you have something in your hands. Most new vehicles have the little kick feature. This one's quite different. So you walk up, having the key on your person, you just stand right here. And there you go. It'll open right up for you. You can put what you need to put inside of there, and that's pretty much it. So back here, you're gonna have a decent amount of space. You've got a spare right under here. You guys can see the cubic feet of the trunk right here. Now you can fold the seats down by pulling these little triggers located right back here. The rear seats will fold right down. Obviously you'll have a lot more room once you do that. But other than that, there's no lights or anything back here. There's one light right up here and it's very dim. So I wish they had like one LED light in there to kind of make things a little bit brighter. That's pretty much going to be it for the trunk. Let's go ahead and see what's under the hood. Okay, it's going to the hood of the new Sonata Hybrid. Now, this is going to be a new hybrid setup, and basically it's going to be a 2-liter 4-cylinder and a 1.6 lithium ion battery pack. Now, it's going to make a total system output of 192 horsepower and over 200 pound-feet of torque. There aren't exact specs on the torque, but we can safely assume it's over 200, which means in both torque and horsepower, this is the most powerful Sonata that you can get until the inline comes out, or of course until more powerful variants on top of that come out as well. Now, fuel economy here, like I mentioned earlier, is going to be lower than the blue trim, which is going to get that maximum of 45 miles per gallon on the highway. This one's going to get a maximum of about 51 on the highway. So you guys can see the exact fuel economy specs for this model. Now, this has something called active shift control. So this is going to be a 6-speed automatic, not a CVT like Toyota, for example. And what active shift control does is it basically uses this electric motor to add or reduce torque to the input shaft to make the shifts a little bit smoother. And of course, we'll see how that is once we get it on the road. And this is going to be front wheel drive only. So let's go ahead, get this on the road and see how it does. Okay, driving the 2020 Hyundai Sonata Hybrid. Now, having driven the full gas limited version, I have a good comparison between the two. And obviously having driven a lot of Toyota's hybrids, including the Camry hybrid, I can compare it against that as well. So let's go ahead and get the negatives out the way. This is nowhere near as smooth as a Camry hybrid. And that's just because this uses an automatic, whereas the Camry uses a CVT. And I'm always one for automatics, I'm always one for having paddle shifters, but there's a time and a place. And there's also the whole concept of having the right tool for the job. And with Toyota, they knew how to do right time, right place, and they have picked the right tool for the job of a hybrid. That CVT is faultless, it's so effortless, and you know, it's smooth. With this, it occasionally gets jerky around town. It's not all the time, but sometimes you will notice it. And if you are coming from a Camry hybrid and you're saying, man, I want to get this, you are going to notice it more coming from that vehicle. Now, it's never something that would deter me from buying this. It's nowhere near that bad. It's just more noticeable. And when you put it into sport, it's a little bit more noticeable. And once again, it's not awful by any means, but it is just something worth noting. And in terms of ergonomics, everything's laid out very well. When you're driving, you don't really have to stress about reaching for anything unless you are reaching on this side of the screen or you want to touch those buttons over there. I cannot reach that. I'm 6 feet tall, my arms are pretty long, and I'm still about an inch and a half away from that. What else can we talk about? Okay, visibility. Mirrors are good. Visibility out of the back is great. The suspension is nice and comfortable. I have not had an issue with it yet, and it's extremely quiet in here. Also, the biggest difference I've noticed between this and a Camry hybrid is when the engine turns on, you don't even know. I don't even know if you guys could tell when I've been in EV mode or when I've been using the gas engine because it's so quiet. And that is the biggest and most noticeable difference between this and a Camry hybrid over any Camry, really. This is just so much quieter than any Camry that's on sale, and you notice it right away. Now, since I have my blinker on, I don't know if I've mentioned this already, but you do have the cameras that come up left and right whenever you blink. Downside about that is that they're pretty low res, which is interesting because I've had this set up in like a Kia Telluride and the previous Genesis G90, and all those cameras seem to be higher resolution. I even had this in the Palisade, which had a higher resolution camera. This one's very low res, which is fine, but having a higher resolution camera just gives you a little bit more confidence whenever you're switching lanes. But visibility is good enough to where you can look, you can use your blind spot, you can use your mirrors, you have the cameras, so you shouldn't be hitting people because you have more than enough things to prevent that from happening. Bose sound system is great, And yeah, it's a good driving car. I like it. It's very smooth and it is powerful. So I did mention that this is the most powerful Sonata that is currently on sale until that new inline comes out. So let's go ahead and put it in sport mode. And I'm going to get over one and then pop a U, even though I'm not supposed to pop a U. So I'm sorry, you guys. Okay, so let's go ahead and give it the beans. And boom, right away you have torque. And it'll go. And let's use these paddles. Let's see how these paddles work. So it's my first time using the paddles. Pulling it, 4, 3. Okay, this is really weird. The only issue is there's no RPM, so I don't really know when I'm supposed to shift. Okay, so I would advise to not use the paddles, but leaving it in automatic mode is fine. And it has more than enough power to get you going. Now, when you are driving, one thing I do like to look at is that solar panel grid. So it'll show you whenever it's putting energy into the battery. If you go into a shady area, the little blue squares will lessen, and then you will see that it's not using as much of the sun. And then if you're obviously driving around at night, it's completely dark and it's not providing any energy to the battery. All right, everyone, moment of truth. So here's how far I drove. 600.5 miles on one tank, 47.8 miles per gallon is what I was averaging, though this screen says I was doing 47.9, but basically the same thing. I still have 11 miles remaining. And just to let you guys know where I drove, I didn't drive this on flat ground at all. I live in Southern California. I live in the Orange County area, Laguna Niguel, near the coast. So I drove here all the way up to Big Bear Lake. And if you guys know where that is, it's over 7,000 feet in elevation at the top of a mountain. So driving up there, I was anywhere from half throttle to full throttle, just because the air's thinner, you're climbing a very steep grade, and I was using a ton of fuel. I drove there and back, still had about 400 miles remaining, which is insane. Drove all around the mountain areas near me, and that is what I came up with. So if you live in a flatter area, I'm sure you can get closer to 650, maybe even close to that 686 that the blue trim claims to get. And if you get the blue trim, I have a feeling you'll get close to 700 miles on a tank. And then as you guys can see, I did a little bit better than the claimed combined MPG for this limited trim. So very impressed with this car for sure. Well, everyone, that's going to conclude my review of the 2020 Sonata Hybrid. Now, I think this is a great purchase. Now, compared to a Camry Hybrid, this is going to feel a lot more luxurious. Other than the occasional jerky transmission, I think it's a great vehicle. The MPG is awesome. Now, obviously, if you want the best MPG and you want that 686 mile total range, you're gonna go for the blue trim. But here in this loaded up version, it gives you all the luxuries of a higher end vehicle. You have that super fuel efficient transmission, engine, and you've got that super cool looking solar panel, though it is going to be a little bit more of a gimmicky novelty kind of thing, if I'm being super honest. And I like the looks of it. I think I like this grille paired with this overall feel. And I just want to know what you guys think. Would you get this over the gas-only variant limited, or would you get the gas-only version over this hybrid? Let me know in the comments below. If you're new to my channel, be sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, or else YouTube will not alert you. And I'll see you guys in the next review. Y'all take care. Bye.